It's time, folks, for the debut album of Bob Dylan. This is going to be my first Bob Dylan review. Well, studio album. I did do his greatest hits, a year ago. I'm going to go through each of the Bob Dylan albums in the 60s. I don't have any of the albums of the 70s, except for Blood on the Tracks. I don't have that big box set that has, almost every single Bob Dylan album on it. But we're only going to go through the ones that were, of course, in mono. All the 60s albums, including Nashville Skyline. Now, this album was not featured in mono. However, this was only released in stereo. But I believe there's some limited, mono editions to this album. But we're going to go from the debut album, which I'm going to be reviewing momentarily, to 1969 Nashville Skyline. And I will probably do a review of Blood on the Tracks as well. So hey, this is it, my first Bob Dylan album review. This is what I got to say about the debut album, actually, before I go into a little, some info and details and stuff. I wrote down here, my thoughts on Bob Dylan's self-titled album. Okay, here we go. I believe that this is just the beginning for this young singer-songwriter. Dylan seems to be really confident on his voice and the way the guitar strums on almost all the songs, including the opening track, You're No Good, and many others on side 1 and side 2. He does, however, goes a little bit slower on some of his songs, including the following: Man of Constant Sorrow, Baby Let Me Follow You Down, and Song to Woody, which is a very, very personal, very tender song, sweet song. Bob Dylan not only proved himself, even though that there's only 2 originals on here that he did, and of course others that were, traditional traditional folk songs. Personally about himself, maybe, perhaps, definitely for the second track for sure, and even, but I don't remember what the other one he did, Song to Woody. It feels like with most of these songs, they're just so very, I don't want to say, but very, very symbolic, I guess, and very, with his, it feels like he's not quite there yet. I definitely got to say that he's very kind of, he's definitely trying. And definitely with a lot of these traditional songs, it definitely helps him out a little bit more as he goes a little bit more deeper into some of the songs. But definitely the last track for sure, which is not really a song that he did. It was written by somebody else. See That My Grave is Clean, is Kept Clean, is very, later Dylan kind of goes definitely a little bit more deeper into really a lot of the dark, symbolism and stuff, and possibly talking about death, perhaps, It's just, just incredible. Overall, Dylan looks to conquer the next few albums with great acoustic melodies and great more deeper on what he personally thinks of society. Pretty much, what he personally thinks of the world, I guess, if you will. Yeah, definitely on the Freewheelin. That's definitely going to be a hard, heavy album, and times they are changing. Yes, indeed. So, the album was released on March the 19th of 1962. It was produced by the head producer of Columbia Records, John H. Hammond, who's going to be producing a couple of the early Dylan albums, including, of course, this one. It was recorded in 3 days. The dates were the 20th, the 21st, and the 22nd of November of 1961. And he got signed with Columbia Records 2 months earlier, so September of 61. Dylan is very Woody Guthrie. And on this album, he's definitely Woody Guthrie. And he was very influenced by him. And definitely on the I was looking it up or whatever. It's a track called "The Last Thoughts" on Woody Guthrie, and it's off of his first bootleg from '61 to '91, and it came out in 1991, March of '91, his first bootleg, and it sounds really good, very good. It was recorded in '63, so it was about like a year after his first. That would have definitely fit kind of well, on this album, I guess, But Song to Woody is very, very, it's definitely a great song, no doubt about it. Dylan visited Woody Guthrie at the time he was facing Huntington's disease in 1961 and wrote the song on Valentine's Day of 1961. So tomorrow will be 50 years, or excuse me, 60 years of when he wrote Song to Woody. So that's fascinating. So anyways, we'll get started here. And the first opening track, it's called "You're No Good." I gotta love you, what you do. So, I don't know how to love you, but I do. It's so great. I just love that. Like, he's, in all these songs, he's very confident in all of these songs. He's just strumming that guitar, really giving what he's got. And I love this song, this opening. I don't know how to love you, but I do. It's so just powerful, passionate, and so just ongoing with that, just head on, just that strumming, kick-ass opener. And some people don't think that this isn't really good. That's what I thought at first. I'm like, oh, this album's not going to be really as good. But I listened to it a couple times, and hey, it's good. The second track is "Talkin' New York." This is pretty much about him going to New York City, 1961, going to all the clubs and, referencing Greenwich Village. And he said he wants to go back to Orange County, I think. I'm not sure, but anyways, "Talkin' New York" is a very, very passionate song, talking about, of course, the times that he was, in New York City. And really good song. The next song is In My Time of Dying. Wow, what a very, very confident Dylan track on here, definitely for sure. He says, Jesus, Jesus. I just love when he does that. And it's just he's so like ongoing. He's so just, really just like when he's singing, he's like, in my time of dying. Just like, oh, Jesus, Jesus. He's just, oh my God. I just love it, man. It just feels like when he was in, just I can just picture him just really just turn to shreds. It's great. And then we get the slower song, and it's called "Man of Constant Sorrow." I believe it was arranged by Bob Dylan, and it's very just, oh man, when he's singing it, he is the man of constant sorrow. He throws his feelings out there, and he's just like, oh, the man of constant sorrow. It's just so, oh my God. It's a great song. And the next song is "Fixin' to Die," which is sort of a, call and response to the third track, "In My Time of Dying." And it's just, and again, he's just going head forward, just like that. It's just like, I'm fixing to die. Just like, oh my God, he's just really just, I think he's like really just, I think in this track, he's taking it very seriously. I just love it. And it's just, it's great, it just really heavily focuses kind of like, since it's mostly just a traditional Scottish folk song, it's very heavy hitter. It's a very just over the top, but he really just takes it. He takes it. And the next song is another Scottish traditional folk tune, and it's called "Peggy O." I think it was written back in 1921, I believe, or somewhere in the late 1900s, early 1920s. And again, he's very happy. Definitely for sure, he's very, again, very enthusiastic, I guess, if you will, and just very. And those chords too are very. Some of these songs have some of the same chords but is arranged very differently, and definitely Pretty Peggy O is very is more a little bit upbeat, I guess. Well, just like the first two tracks, but it's a little bit more, in his way of, doing it. And however, the next song is Highway 51. I guess this was sort of his idea to making Highway 61. But anyways, this is just about, going on a freight, going on a train, because he always is referencing, or at least talking about trains, if you will, kind of like some of his electric period stuff, and including the side too with Freight Train Blues. But anyways, Highway 51, just, he's just talking about he doesn't want to go back. He doesn't want to go back to Highway 51. He wants to just keep on going on the path he wants to go. And it's just such a great song again. It's really, again, passionate, very young. I mean, he was only 20 years old when he recorded this album, and it's great. Side 2 is Gospel Plow. Again, he really just nails it. Just like side 2, side 1 opening with You're No Good, and then Gospel Plows comes in, ripping into shreds. And it's got that early Dylan style vocal, and I think it's good. The next song is Baby Let Me Follow You Down. And in the opening, he references about, he talks about a guy named Rick Von Schmidt. Apparently they went to Harvard, I guess, together or something. So yeah, it's a very calming kind of song, because the last couple of songs are very kind of a little bit like, ooh, a little bit pushing the edge there. But definitely this one's very more tender, more acoustic, very melodic, I guess, and just one of the good slow Dylan songs. The next song, which he definitely nails perfectly, is House of the Rising Sun, which is, of course, covered by many of variants of artists. This one, however, is very, he just lays it out, man. He just, with those great vocals, and there's just that amazing, just that voice. He's like, you know what I mean? Just, it's great, and it feels like you can hear every single lyric coming from his voice, and oh my God, it's just, there is a house in New Orleans. Oh my God, it's great. It's great. The next song is Freight Train Blues, which is, of course, figuratively talking about trains. This one basically just like Highway 51, talking about, not feeling depressed, and just talking about, that he's feeling down, and he talks about this girl, and just basic, relationships, that kind of thing. And the next song is Song to Woody. And of course, this one, oh my God, I was like listening to this one. This one really hit me. This one really did. Of course, this is about, the late, great Woody Guthrie. This was Bob Dylan's hero, if you will. And I can't believe that he saw him at the time that he was, suffering, through a terrible disease. And, just really, he's just passionate about this one. And he's very, he's just really, he loves it. It's great. I think it's, what can be said? Really good. And of course, this is another original by him. So it's very, very, very sweet. And then the last track is See That My Grave Is Kept Clean. Oh man, this one's a pretty heavy song. It wasn't written by him, but it's really just about about death. He's just, I guess, he's awaiting on death, I guess. And like we said, it just seemed that Dylan, with this last track, he's definitely going to be a lot more darker, for sure. Definitely, for sure, for the next, at least the Except for another side of Bob Dylan, he's going to be a little bit more happier, or a little bit more not so much heavy, I guess, if you will. Anyways, folks, that is my review of the debut album of Bob Dylan. I thought I was not going to like it at first, but I thought it was great. I mean, definitely for sure. I mean, you know, a lot of people over the years, of course, definitely have appreciated the debut, but of course, back in the day, it wasn't very. It seemed to be very, you know, lost. I guess, you know, it never charted. So I think it charted in the UK, but I mean, man, I mean, with that opening track, "You're No Good," you're gonna love, or "Baby, I Love You, What I Do." Just, oh my god. Anyways, that is my review of the first debut album of Bob Dylan. My next album I'm going to be reviewing is going to be the Freewheelin', 1963. Thank you guys so much. Take care. Bye-bye.